Hey everyone, this is Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalists. In this case, how to survive a pandemic. Seems that it's not enough that we have nuclear war concerns coming from Asia, also we have bird flu to keep us busy. So let's keep this as simple as always, trying to keep it as simple as possible, but nonetheless delivering the information. First of all, we're going to be dividing this topic in two groups. First one is prevention. Second one is going to be what happens during the pandemic. Okay, two very distinctive, separate groups. One is what you do ahead of time, one is what you do when it finally hits and you have all this breaking out all around you. In terms of prevention, first of all, we have to understand how it is that flu spreads. It's not as in the movies where it goes through the air and just reaches you no matter what. Flu is going to be being spread mostly because of this. It's going to be a guy that goes, coughs like that, spits very small particles that float around in the air, and you just come by, just happy you, smelling the roses, and then take a nice deep breath, and there you go. You just got sick because of this guy not covering his mouth as he was supposed to, or even wearing a basic mask as they do in Japan, which, you know, very polite people over there avoiding this. This is one of the most common way in which you get the flu. Someone coughs, talks, and it spreads, hangs there in the air. Those little particles which have a rather reduced range. It's not as if they're going to be flying for miles, but it's direct human contact like this, or very close human contact, that gets you sick. Another common way in which you get sick is when maybe you go to a building, press the elevator, you call the elevator number 3, you get in and your nose itches, or you scratch one of your eyes, something like that, and you just got sick because you didn't know that just 5 seconds before you got there, a kid was, a 16-year-old kid was getting a burger out of his nose, did a little bottle and threw it, and then he touched number 3 as well, and you got sick because of that. You just didn't see that guy. So it happens with doors, with elevators. One of the things you have to do basically to avoid getting sick is avoiding human contact. And by this I don't mean leaving the city entirely and living in the woods. You can actually do this by being isolated wherever it is you are, by staying home. And by this I mean just staying home and not opening the door, not opening your door at all. Just staying isolated in your house is going to be enough to avoid this. Alright? As we were saying before, keeping your hands clean. The average person, I don't remember the exact figure, but it's like the average person touches his face like 100 times per day, or like 50 times per hour, or something like that. Ridiculous. You just touch your your face all the time without even realizing. Whenever you start noticing, you realize that you touch your nose, your mouth, your eyes, you scratch something all the time. And that's one of the ways in which you get sick. For that, you want to have with you a little bottle, and this is something that we've talked about before, a little bottle of hand sanitizer, so as to put in your hands and clean those up frequently, especially before eating, of course. But you know, having the habit of having one of these bottles with you, keeping your hands clean, is going to be helping avoiding not only flu but other diseases as well. Never ceases to amaze me how the clerks and people working in supermarkets and grocery stores just lick their fingers to open those bags. Have you ever seen that? It's not only gross, it's actually pretty bad for spreading diseases. So once we understand this, another important thing is, in terms of prevention, is information. And this works in several other aspects of emergency disasters and such. You have to stay up to date on terms of what's happening, especially when you realize, like now, that there's these talks of bird flu spreading and such. Just try to keep up to date with what's happening. And information is of little use with improper timing. Timing is key. If you just have the information just a couple days too late or one day too late, that just throws everything out there. It's of no use because you are already in trouble. And by this I mean, if you have information that a specifically dangerous flu or pandemic is spreading, what you want to do is, as soon as you have that knowledge, that information, you may want to take a couple days off work if possible. Maybe not send the kids to school. Maybe give it a week or something like that until you have a better picture of what's going on. All right. If it's nothing, then everything goes back to normal. If it's as bad as you thought, you may have just made one decision that has spared you a lot of grief. All right. So stay tuned. Know what's going on, and whenever you deem necessary, and this is, you have to try this out yourself. Whenever you see that there's a possible serious problem going on, that there's a potential deadly pandemic spreading, then just start your plans in terms of staying home, bugging in, staying home, and avoiding contact with others. During the pandemic itself, you have basically to do this: stay put, avoid contact with other people. Now, if you cannot do that, then you will want to have a respirator. Okay, I don't know if you've ever been in Japan. I think it's very common for people to use a face mask, and this is mostly for the guy that is sick. Just a matter of politeness. The guy that is sick, to avoid spreading the disease by wearing the mask. It's not as efficient as just a basic cloth or paper face mask. It's not really that effective to avoiding getting sick in a crowded environment, especially if we're talking about indoors or using public transportation with people very nearby. In that case, you want a proper respirator, something that covers your face entirely, or at least this portion like this. And I've done videos on NBC respirators before. Check those out. And you may be a little bit self-conscious about going around with a face mask, let alone a respirator. Let me tell you one thing. If you end up wearing one of these and there's a pandemic spreading and no one else has it, the first time someone coughs inside a crowded place, they will all wish that they were the ones with a respirator. They will wish to be the ones using it, because the few things are as scary as being in a crowded place, in a convention room or something like that, or in a building, in an office, knowing that there's a deadly disease spreading, and seeing one of the guys using this, you will want that yourself. So avoid contact, especially during a real full-blown deadly pandemic. Avoid contact as much as possible. If you cannot avoid it, use your respirator. Use it, not just have there for nuclear war. Actually wear it if you have to. I mean, it's better to look stupid and not get something that may get you killed, right? Maybe you agree with me, maybe you not. In terms of the actual, if you get the flu and such, you're going to be needing those supplies. And here we are mostly talking about controlling the fever, ibuprofen, your staples, your staple medical kit, ibuprofen, paracetamol as well. If you can have it, Tamiflu, even though I know that for most of you guys this is pretty much restricted because it's a prescription medicine that's only going to be given to you by the doctor and such. One of the things I noticed during the flu problem in Argentina was that, those nebulizers, just basically that little machine with a mask that goes on your face and makes like a steam or smoke. Well, there was a lack. It was kind of hard to find for some time saline solution that goes into the machine. And you realize that it costs like cents per bottle, so it makes sense to have several of these 5-10 little bottles so as to have them when things start getting a little bit more ugly. And finally, in terms of healthcare, it may sound obvious, but you really appreciate what you're paying for in terms of medical care when you actually need it, like something like this, when there's real problems. Now, it is true that the providers may be collapsed because of the amount of sick people. That happens. But in general, the better service you're paying for, the better treatment you will be getting as well. And in terms of shots, which are very debatable, it's one of those topics like people feel very strongly about. Should you get the shots or not? In general, what most governments recommend is that for high-risk groups like small children or older people or people that have recurrent problems with pneumonia and such, those should get flu shots and pneumonia shots as well. In general, I think that at least for those group of people, it is recommended. If not, then it's a lot of a personal matter. Some people get really sick when they get the flu shots, and for them maybe it doesn't seem as necessary, although you may wonder how worse it would be if you actually get the full-blown disease instead of a light version with a vaccine, with the shots. So that's a type of a personal thing. I'm not that shot scary, if you want to put it that way. I think that they do have a place, but I do ask a little bit around and make informed decisions after talking with our physician to see if we give it to our kids and ourselves, making informed decisions in that way. Guys, that's basically it for now. It's kind of simple in terms of avoiding flu, and especially when you're sick, lots of rest, and an insane amount of water. All right, that helps a lot. Whenever I had bad flus, lots and lots of water or tea and such helped quite a bit, in spite of all the medicine that you may be giving later on. All right, so that's basically it, guys. Take care, have a great day, see you on our next video. Thanks for watching.